So Microsoft's new-ish Xbox Series X consoles have finally hit the streets, and it looks like there's more going on with them than just a new color. It's Sunday, so let's get sensational. I'm Mike, and I'm here digitally to talk about the gaming news. Kind of like the brand new all-digital Xbox Series X. So Microsoft announced earlier this year that they were doing this new digital Xbox Series X, which is basically the same as the current one, but without the disc drive, and it's $450. And they also did a special edition with the 2TB drive and the disc drive for $600. But both of those consoles are finally available, and tech YouTuber Austin Evans did a teardown of both the consoles, and it looks like they made a few changes to the internals. So with both of these new versions of the Series X, the motherboard has been redesigned and it's smaller. They also moved from a vapor chamber cooler to a more traditional heat pipe style cooler, and the chip has moved to 6 nanometers, so overall it's easier to cool, which is probably why they got rid of the vapor chamber. It's overall cheaper to not have it, and it's more efficient, so it also draws less power. Now, as far as efficiency, with the initial testing on idle, it's around 10 watts less for the disc-based 2TB special edition console and 23 watts less for the digital Series X. And under load, the new digital Series X was drawing 156 watts, and the new disc-based one was drawing 151 watts. I'm not sure why the disc-based one was lower under load, but anyway, the original Xbox Series X draws about 167 watts, so it's still 10 to 16 watts less. So it's not a huge difference over the original Series X, and definitely not a reason to go buy one if you already have one. But it's one of the few things that came true from the leaks last year when Microsoft was in court with the FTC arguing over the Activision thing. They accidentally leaked some documents related to the trial. But specifically, there was a leak about the all-digital Series X that Microsoft was originally planning. Most of the things from the leak got changed, including the design, and unfortunately making it 2 terabytes for the same price as the current Series X. But anyway, one of the things was to switch to 6 nanometer chips for their consoles. But yeah, either way, if you decide to pick up one of the new consoles, it'll be slightly more efficient. But the Xbox is the only thing that Microsoft may be looking to make changes to, so we have a new rumor about xCloud, or Xbox Cloud Gaming. It looks like Microsoft may be working on a new controller specifically for streaming. So this was discovered by the developer of the app Better xCloud, but basically, they're rumored to be making a direct-to-cloud controller. Now, this really isn't a new concept, as Google did it with their streaming service Stadia before they shut it down, but theoretically, the controller would connect to the internet and send inputs directly to the server that's running the game, instead of the inputs going to the device and then going to the cloud. So it could reduce latency by taking out the extra step of the inputs going to the device and then going to the cloud. Of course, Microsoft hasn't commented on this other than to say that right now they're focused on improving visual quality for xCloud. Now, from a personal standpoint, I've used Xbox game streaming a few times, and it's not bad for games that don't require precise inputs, but cloud gaming in general needs a lot of work on the latency front. Now, I do think that having the controller that connects directly to the cloud could help, but I don't think it'll reach the responsiveness of playing a game locally, at least for a while. All right, it's that time again to talk about layoffs. We had a little break, but of course, and unfortunately, we're back. So Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends, has announced that they're laying off some of their staff. PC Gamer confirmed with Riot that 27 League of Legends devs are being laid off and 5 people from their publishing team. They're claiming that the reason for these layoffs are to make things more efficient and prepare for the future, and that they're actually going to be growing the League of Legends team eventually. They also said they're offering a severance package that includes 6 months of salary, their annual bonus, healthcare, and they're going to assist with job placement. So it's still bad that they're laying people off, but at least they're offering a good severance package. Of course, the issue is that even with assisting with job placement, that the job market is still not great. So it's still going to be hard for them to find equivalent jobs, especially with most of the gaming companies doing these layoffs right now. Now, the PC Gamer article also mentions that Riot laid off 530 employees almost a year ago. So I don't know how much I'm buying the whole we're doing it for efficiency reasons, and in the future we're going to be even bigger. I'm sure that they'll staff back up at some point, probably when the industry shifts again. But yeah, I'm just not fully buying the reasoning for their layoffs, other than it being related to money. All right, so after that story, we got to end with something, well, it's still bad, especially for Game Freak. So let's just go ahead and talk about it today. And our final story. So if you're not familiar with Game Freak, they basically make all the mainline Pokemon games. Yes, they've made other games, but they're primarily known for Pokemon. Well, the reason we're talking about them is because unfortunately, they suffered a huge data breach back in August. So this leak was pretty big, and it included 2,600 items of personal data related to their employees, as well as a bunch of information about past Pokemon games, and a little information about future games. Now, Game Freak put out a statement saying a third party got unauthorized access to one of their servers, but the server's already been rebuilt and secured, and they also apologized to the employees that were affected. Now, the story said it was 2,600 items related to employees, but it doesn't say how many employees were affected. But Game Freak did say that they're working with each employee. Obviously, they got to do like, you know, credit monitoring and a bunch of other stuff when your information gets out there. It's a whole mess. Now, as far as the other information that got out, there was stuff like concepts from previous games that were scrapped, movies that were canceled, a little about some upcoming games. But I'm not going to cover that here because while I'm a Pokemon fan, it will be a way longer video just to cover all the Pokemon related stuff that leaked. But there was something related to the Switch 2 that was part of the leak. So some of the documentation mentioned its internal code name, which is Ounce. Now, this isn't going to be the name of the console. Obviously, most consoles have a code name before they launch, like the Wii was the Revolution. Ounce is just an interesting code name for a console. Maybe it'll have a water bottle built in. I'm not sure. It's Nintendo. They're weird. They could do that. But in all seriousness, I hope the employees that were affected by this, the people whose data got out there, aren't too badly affected. But let me know what you think in the comments about this week's story. Do you think that Xbox having the direct-to-cloud controller would make Xbox streaming better? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button thing to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.